What's going on,
Hey,
guys?
what's
We're
up?
back.
We're back finally.
We're
Damn,
back.
dude. Yeah, it's been a hot minute. It has been
Oh yeah,
busy,
we've had to
busy,
skip a few.
busy.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
holidays and
Yep.
all sorts of crazy stuff in life happening, but we're back. We're ready to
All
record, and I'm
yeah,
excited.
back at it. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So how are you doing, man?
Not too bad. There's been a lot of crazy, crazy stuff going on in life this last week, as you know. Um, Getting through it though, and learning a lot. It's been a good time. Um, how about you? How you been?
I've been all right. Dealing with a little sickness in the family. It was my daughter, then my son, then my other daughter, and now I feeling symptoms. They kind of been coming and going, but I'm dealing with it. But oh man, when one kid gets sick, you know it's
Yeah,
gonna just wiggle its way through the family.
yeah.
Always a pain.
Uh, my kid's
But
only a year and a half, and every time she gets sick, I'm like, well, I already know because she's
she,
gonna come snuggle, and I'm gonna get freaking sick.
yep, yep, that's what it is. And then I had some cool stuff happen for work.
Okay,
I got
okay.
my CCB license, my contractor's license. So like,
That's right. That's amazing.
yeah, super
Okay.
stoked about that. To start
Congrats,
my
man.
business. Thank you. Thank
Heck
you.
yeah.
It's a really good achievement. I've been working on that for a couple months now, and it's been stressful because I put in the application and I checked the box for a commercial endorsement. And so then they sent me an email and they were like, "Well, if you have a commercial endorsement, then you have to pay for workman's comp. You have to have workman's comp insurance." And I was like, I'm an
Okay.
LLC. I'm going to be only a one man show. Like, I'm not planning on having employees or just working side by side with other contractors. And he's like, well, anybody since 2011 that has a commercial endorsement, which I thought I needed in order to do any kind of commercial work. But the residential endorsement, which does not require workman's comp insurance, also covers small commercial projects
Okay.
under a
Okay.
certain square footage, under a certain dollar amount. So I assumed that if I wanted to do any commercial, I had to get the endorsement. Turns out the small lower end of commercial work is covered by the residential.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
um, yeah, I was kind of freaking out. I was like, oh man, this is going to be another $200 a month, you know? And
Yeah.
it's one of those, they give you a quote for the whole year. So it comes out to like 300 or 400 bucks a month, but you pay a lump sum at the beginning.
Ooh.
It's like
Yeah.
700 or 800, and it
Uh-huh.
knocks your per month down. You know,
Okay.
so for my regular insurance, it's like 120 a month, and then I had to come up with 1,000 up front. And so
Okay.
for this
Okay.
one, I was like 700 or 800, and it's like, oh man, I don't have that right now. I really, and then I'd have to wait until payday, which was another 2 weeks, and then I'd have to pay that, which I don't know how long it's just when that came up, I was
Yep.
like,
Yep.
this is gonna take another 2 or 3 weeks for me to resolve it. But it all worked out. It's all worked out. So
Yeah. Yeah.
super
I mean,
stoked.
it just goes to show it's like you got to put in a little bit of legwork and you can
Mm-hmm.
achieve some cool things. And I know we've been talking about it quite a bit since you started working on it, and I'm really stoked for you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah. So,
um,
Aaron, what are we talking about today?
I think we're gonna go with something pretty fun, pretty interesting. I think we're gonna talk
Mm-hmm.
about things we'd like to build, things we want to
Things
create,
we'd
and
like. Well, I got some weird ones. I'll tell you that.
oh,
Some unique ones. I'll put it that way. Not weird. Nothing weird. I ain't like that on this channel.
no, I think
Oh,
it'll be some fun stuff. I have a lot myself, and I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be scratching some heads and raising some eyebrows, but
yeah.
it's I got some cool ones.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, let's why don't you start it off then? You have probably quite a few.
Oh, I have
So,
way too many. I have way too many. Um,
so list off three, and then pick the most interesting one from those three to talk about in depth.
Oh shoot! All right. I like making all sorts of stuff. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
and I've made a bunch of random things, but I want to like make more things. There's things like I'm just gonna go off the top of my head. I don't have a list.
Mm-hmm.
Like ever since I was a little kid, we had piles of like wood for some reason around our house, and I would try to make
Mm-hmm.
things. I really want to make a super legit like medieval trebuchet.
Oh,
Not
oh
like
yeah.
full size, but like
Uh-huh.
legit at
Mini.
the very yeah, like a little mini fella. I really want to make one. I've always wanted to make one. Um, let's see what else. I really like the idea of trying to make my own disc golf basket because I'm extra and it would be way harder and cost way more money to make one, but it would be fun.
Yeah, for sure. Some questions about the trebuchet for sure.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
um, so when you make that, do you want to do it with like old school style with only wood, like wooden
Yes.
dowels, wooden nails, that kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I
So
want to
do you,
legit throw heavy objects.
yeah,
Again, not like
like,
boulders. I'm not trying to like break into a castle, but like,
uh-huh.
I want to throw like a watermelon or something cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. What do you see it having like the sling kind of deal, or do you see it having like the basket with the cup on it?
Ooh, that's a good question. I
Because
guess
the most like epic trebuchets that I've seen always are in the Siege in Lord of the Rings 3.
uh-huh.
That whenever I think of trebuchet, that I always think of that. It's either that or the ones that were in Age of Empires because I played the crap out of that game in high school.
Fair enough, fair
But
enough.
but yeah, those
Honestly,
are the only those.
yeah, they both have like a place in my heart, all right? Like
Yeah.
obviously having the sling and being able to just really like get that leverage and just fling stuff really
Mhm.
far. That would be pretty cool, but at the same time like what are you ever going to use a trebuchet for? So I think maybe being able to find a place where you can throw things really far would be harder. So it might be
Yeah.
cooler just to go with like the basket and then try to find a way to throw like flaming balls of awesomeness.
Yeah.
Try not to burn
Oh, dude.
any
What
neighbors' houses down.
about what about a ballista?
I mean, that would be super rad too. Don't get me
I
wrong.
mean, what is it? You know, it's a giant bow and arrow. It's a giant crossbow that
Yeah.
sits on the ground with some wheels. You know.
Yeah, it's like
That would
they
be-
take the trebuchet thing and they're like, oh, trebuchet gone, crossbow, bam.
Yeah,
Done.
exactly. Put it on some wheels.
That'd
Dude,
super rad.
that'd be legit. That'd be so legit. I mean, if you were gonna make it all natural, you'd have to find something. Cause I don't know how they used to make bow and arrows like back in the day, like way back in the day. Native Americans and stuff. Every single time, and this is just, you're a dumb kid, you don't know anything about anything. So you go find a stick, you bend it a little bit, you put a little string on it, you go to pull it back, and the thing snaps in half. I mean, obviously, it's the wrong type of wood, right? But,
Yeah.
like, I'm sure they gotta have some sort of treatment for the wood that keeps it bendable
Oh, yeah.
to where it can bend and go back to its original
yeah.
position without wearing out over time.
That's the cool thing about
So-
now versus when I was a kid looking into this, right? I was doing that.
Mhm.
Again, I was like using random wrong pieces of stick and things that always broke. But now, the internet's so big, so many people have like learned so much about other cultures and stuff and history. And now there's like
Mhm.
they've brought that all to the modern day. I can just watch a
Yeah.
YouTube video and figure out how to make a trebuchet.
Yeah.
Or a ballista or whatever, right?
Mhm.
So oh yeah, I'd really, I don't know why. I just want to build one like the size of like, I don't know, like a small car or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, a car. That sounds pretty legit.
Just have it as like in your garage, like
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's Aaron loading up his trebuchet on his trailer again.
yeah. Or I could just be like, get off my lawn.
Just throw watermelons at your neighbors. Okay, cool, cool. Well, for me, I have some that are kind of like, well, one of them's pretty big. I want to
Okay.
build my own arcade cabinet, and
Yeah.
that's something that I've really wanted to do with like my retro games. And
Right.
then it's kind of like building a mold or 3D printing a mold
Okay.
for cases for different handheld consoles and controllers.
Okay.
So like taking the imprint of a PlayStation 2 controller and getting the measurements right, the depths right, all the pieces that snap in, the screw holes and everything, getting it all. I mean, it just takes time to actually build a cast for it, but something like that, and then being able to pour my own like resin molds of those, and then like Game Boy, Game Boy
Okay.
Color,
Yeah. Yep.
shells and stuff. I think it'd be really sweet to do one for PS2. I mean, that's my favorite console, but it's just something so much more different and more satisfying about taking off the old shell and putting on a new shell versus like painting it or coloring it or putting decals over it, like the peel and stick. I mean, yeah, those can look really nice. It's kind of like what's it called, plasti dip, for your car and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Y-
you're gonna be
Yeah.
touching it constantly, so it'll eventually wear off. But
Yeah. I've actually, when I was a kid, I took my Game Boy SP, Advanced
uh-huh.
SP. It was the folding one.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
took it apart, painted it white, and then put it all back together because I didn't make a white one. At least at the
uh-huh.
time I bought mine,
Yeah.
or my parents bought mine. So,
How
but
did it work out for you?
yeah, no, it didn't work out real good. It, like you said, it wears
Yeah.
off. So being able to have like an actual like case that's
Mhm.
a color or a design that you want, versus like
Yeah.
something that's gonna wear off. Like, yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. And you could totally buy it. You could buy it off Etsy. I'm sure somebody's done it, but it's like, no, I want my own. I want to
Oh,
make it
I'm
myself.
I'm extra. I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, and it's not just that. It's like all a bunch of different video game related things. It'd be cool to make little a Yoshi mold for different Yoshis in different positions, whether throwing an egg or sticking his tongue out or something like that. Yoshi's one of my favorite characters, that and Kirby. But yeah, there's that, and then I really like forging videos, like watching people making knives and stuff.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I've always wanted to, and this is such a pipe dream. Like, you'd have to have so much equipment, so much knowledge, so much materials. Honestly, you'd probably have to do it like side by side with like a blacksmith, like a legit blacksmith that knows how the temperatures work, what to look for, how not to break it, how to actually like reinforce it, you know, all this stuff. So it's more of like working side by side with somebody that knows. But I want to build like a great sword, and by that I mean like old school medieval two-handed giant. They're called claymores or they're called Zweihanders, and they're just enormous, 5 foot long blades that are
Yeah.
insanely heavy, you know.
That
And
would
so
be
it's just
so
like,
rad.
I mean, to make it legit, I think there was either Mythbusters or something. He bought one. It might not have been Mythbusters specifically, but it was kind of like that show where they were testing out different medieval weapons. And he tested out a claymore, but he bought it, and they didn't have the shaft of the handle going down far enough into the actual wood handle, and so he swung it, and it was so heavy that the tip of it just flew off. And it's like, oh man, well,
Ooh.
gotta get a good grip on that, get a good connection to the handle so that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, that looks so cool. I mean, even that or like a katana, like that would be super
Dude.
sick.
Yeah.
Or
Oh,
even
yeah.
just watching like a Japanese swordsmith work, it'd be super super
Oh,
sweet.
yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
So yes, Claymore would be dope. But the thing that I'm super passionate about, super passionate, like Holy crap, it would be so sweet. And I have the plans in my head. I've done a lot of research on like how to make it. It's just a matter of finding the time and like setting that time apart because I know it's going to take a long time.
Okay.
Is building my own arcade cabinet. Now,
Right.
the arcade cabinet essentially is going to be a mount, like it's going to be a table that has a space that is slightly tilted back so
Okay.
that a TV can sit on there.
Okay.
And it has to be a CRT TV, so I mean a big tube TV. So you're already looking at, 3 feet of space behind it. These things are massive and super heavy. So whatever you build it out of has to be, super sturdy.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a CRT TV, and then, you build it in a way that hides the wires that connect in the front or in the back, probably best in the back. And then the wires would run down into the bottom of the cabinet, and the bottom of the cabinet would have a door on it, and you would open the door and you'd have your consoles. Like you'd have a PS2 in there, you'd have a Dreamcast in there. Any console that you wanted that had a light gun. And so then you could connect your PS2, put in Time Crisis 2, and then you would be able to close the cabinet door, and then you'd have the gun coming, through a hole that you drilled through the front of the cabinet, and you'd be able to play Time Crisis on a cabinet as if you were in the arcade, and then you can control everything about it.
Can you imagine?
You can switch. I mean, I think it'd be so cool because I've thought about buying the arcade cabinets themselves. The cheapest one I can find is $800 for House of the Dead 2. A Dreamcast costs anywhere from $100 to $200 depending on the quality, and the game is about 50 or 60. It's a little expensive, but
then all the work and paint and whatever, And I know in one of our previous episodes you mentioned this idea vaguely, and you had said something about putting like maybe the signs above the cabinets of like the manufacturers or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I have so many different ideas for this project. It would definitely be a passion project. Honestly, it'd probably be like a summer project.
Dude.
A nice warm weather.
I know a guy who wants to help do this. Like, honestly, just for your kids even, like they come into the game room and they have like 4 cabinets and they're playing arcade. Like, does it get any cooler than that?
Well, there's like PS2 actually has the joystick with the 6 buttons for fighting games. And so what people have done is they've like taken those apart out of the shell, and then you can drill holes that are the right size and put those in a plank of wood and then mount that to the face.
That's so cool.
Wouldn't that be sweet? I mean, you could customize it so much. Like it would be so cool. A very fun project. So that's my big one. The one that I would love to, it's all planning though. It's all like, okay, no side jobs, no extra work, no hanging out with so and so because, whatever. It's like I got this project because it's definitely one of those projects that's kind of like super difficult. And so you take one day off and the stress leaves your body, and it makes it really hard to get back into a project like that when you know that it's, you just got to fight through the stress. You got to just fight through the hurdles and just get it done because you know that at the end you're going to love it,
Yeah.
So,
that's super rad, man. I'm sold. Let's do it.
Yeah, I know. It sounds awesome. So, all right. Well, what are a couple more for you?
So, this one's real, like I said, or like you said, pipe dream. Real like it would cost a bunch of money, but I am super into cars. I really love cars. I really want to build a car. One of the ones that's kind of like, so I'm sure we'll have a car episode eventually, right? And I'll
Mm-hmm.
leave most of that type of stuff for that episode, but I wanted to mention at least one because it's kind of like a Frankenstein idea. It's something
Mm-hmm.
that is almost like a craft project. Like it's just something that I think is funny or that I like and I want to do. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to build this little Datsun pickup truck. Okay. They're
Right.
like the Datsun's like, for those of you who don't know, it's like it was owned by Nissan. I think it was Nissan before, maybe even, and they got the name changed to Nissan. Anyways, a
Mm-hmm.
little baby Nissan truck. They're tiny, absolutely microscopic, and little short bed, single cab, really small, and put a little tiny Volkswagen like diesel motor in it, and like
Yeah.
mod it so it like rolls coal, like all the
Yeah.
like redneck trucks,
Yeah. Yeah.
except for it's just like a little funny truck,
A
almost
little
like,
tiny baby.
yeah, almost like making fun of them, but like,
Yeah. No, that sounds hilarious, dude. Just like, just imagine rolling up to a stoplight and you got the guy next to you with his big dually, you know, and then you just come putting up next to him, just revving your engines, blowing out all
yeah,
this smoke, you know. That
yeah.
is,
Exactly. And then do a
and then
burnout. And
yeah, exactly. Definitely get that start way quicker, you
I
know,
feel like
being
I
so
feel
light
like
and
it would
small.
just get all the crazy looks, and people are like, "What the heck?" I mean,
Yeah,
90% of people are gonna hate it, but I don't care. I think
yeah,
it's funny.
yeah. No, that is hilarious.
I've
I
wanted to
mean,
build
I've
that for a few
seen,
years.
yeah, I've seen some pretty interesting cars that people choose to mod, you know, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
it's all like if you love the car, then do what you want, you know,
yeah, yeah,
and
exactly.
so it's really cool.
Again, that's kind of
I
just
mean,
my honorable mention into the car world. So,
yeah,
but I think that would be super fun.
yeah,
Um, Another thing that I've already actually started building, and I want to like really get more into it and start doing more specific. So I made a few wooden lures, like fishing
mm-hmm.
lures. Okay, just carved them by hand, and uh, put it like I made crankbaits, so they have like a little clear lip at the front, and it makes them like dive down in the water and like swim like a fish, kind of.
Yeah,
Um, and then I have a friend at work that paints lures, so I just had him paint them. I kind of did like a deal where I made him a lure, and then I made me a lure, and then I had him paint them as like a trade, right? So he gets to keep one, and I get painted my lures, right? So
mm-hmm.
that's what I've done so far. I've made like 4 or 5. Uh, what I want to do is start making molds, like silicone molds. So you
Mm-hmm.
carve like more detailed bait out of wood, and then you do the whole silicone thing, and you make 2 sides, and you make a mold out of it, and then you pour resin or uh, lures into that, so you can make the same lure like over and over and over again,
Right.
exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or even like you can do the rubber like fishing lure rubbery stuff in there,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I want to get into that. I want to get into like making molds and making baits like that, and
Yeah.
I don't know, not to like sell them or anything, just to have fun and try it out. And I like fishing.
Well, I mean, like epoxy in general is just
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
a
uh,
super awesome craft, you know, and there's just so many applications, especially if you learn how to make your own molds, you
yeah.
know. I think that that's key. You know, you can buy pre-made molds just so that you can pour a heart or pour a cube every single
Hmm.
time, you know. You find them all the time at the craft stores, but to imprint a 3D object, you know, so that you can make a copy of it is, you know, difficult, but definitely worth it, I think. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, no, that's sweet. Um yeah, I think that another thing that I really wanted to make is a table, but not
Okay.
just like a regular table. I want to make I want to make a table that is made out of very expensive high grade wood, you know,
Okay.
that has, and I do all the finish myself, and I actually use a lathe to make every single one of the legs and put like a crazy design.
Okay.
And
Okay.
what I imagine in my head, and this, like I said, this would have to be something that I get help with, that I get like guidance from somebody that does this, because I really want to do like different designs in the edge. So it would be the tabletop itself, and then it would have a skirt that goes all the way
Hmm.
around, like
Hmm.
maybe 3 or 4 inches.
Yeah.
And then on that skirt would be like whatever design you want. And I mean, in a perfect world, it would be like something cool, like a medieval battle scene, you know? Like
Ooh.
that,
Yeah.
I think that that would be freaking sweet, but that's
Yeah.
like complicated woodwork. I'd never be able to do that. I'd have to hire somebody for that for sure. But I mean, like different, ancient texts or something would be kind
Yeah.
of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Different designs from different cultures would be kind of cool, Um,
It sounds super
and
cool.
so, but I want it to be, I want to make it myself.
Hmm.
And then even on the top, I mean, I kind of think of it as one of two things: either having it completely finished and stained, or doing some sort of carving on the top that's flush, so that you can fit a piece of glass over the top.
Okay.
So you can always look down through the glass and see it,
Okay.
whatever
Okay.
design that you made.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I just woodwork in general, like I've watched, I'm sure you've seen the TikToks and some guys making some crazy thing, and he's getting every single angle absolutely perfect so that it fits, just absolutely perfect together.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's like that's so skillful. It looks so cool. It looks so satisfying to get that wooden dowel
Yeah.
perfectly, through those two pieces to get it to fit together. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it just looks so awesome, and I would just love to do that hands on. You
Yeah.
know.
It definitely would
Um.
take some practice and, like you said,
Oh
some
yeah.
help with for some of the specific stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that does sound super cool.
Yeah. I think another cool one is like rock work,
Okay.
or kind of like like back in the day, like the statue of David, you
Okay.
know, or different sculptures like that. They use a hammer and chisel, and they chisel the whole thing. And I'm sure there's other techniques and other tools that they use, but I mean, nowadays it seems that a lot of those are just cast, you know? But I know that there is a specific, like, very niche kind of art with rocks and stones and stuff that is, it's like a pen. It's like, imagine a pressure washer, only like 5 million times more powerful, but it's only the stream isn't very long, but
Okay.
it's a engraver for rocks,
Okay.
but it uses water.
Yeah.
And so you're able to cut into stone with this high pressure, really thin line of water.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I've seen some pretty crazy things done with
Yeah.
that. I
That'd be
mean,
pretty
it
cool.
just looks super cool
There,
to make something small out of that.
yeah, and I'm sure there's all sorts of applications you could use that skill
Mhm.
for.
Yeah.
Um,
Engraving be super dope.
I got a couple more.
Yeah.
So we'll start with a koi pond.
Mm.
So I
Okay.
absolutely love koi. We had koi as a kid. I've had fish my whole life. I love fish. I love koi, and they're just so beautiful, and like, and the things that people do to make like outdoor koi ponds
Mhm.
with like waterfalls and rocks and plants, and it's so beautiful. Like there's so much you can do to have something that's just peaceful and beautiful. And I really want to build something like that in my backyard, um,
Mhm.
dig a big old, hole, and then take that dirt and make a mound so that you have like a lot, you can have a big, elevation change. So you can have a waterfall, um,
Mhm.
have like a little tiny wooden bridge going over part of it, so you can
Yeah.
walk over it and see the koi and stuff. Um,
Mhm.
I'm super big into like the filtration world, and I'd be really, it'd be, I'd really enjoy the challenge of trying to like figure out how to filter it and keep it clear all the time and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but again, it's all kind of comes from just being a kid, and we had koi, and I really liked it. So I really want
Yeah.
to build one of those. Another thing that's also in the backyard uh, is, well, doesn't have to be, but I want to do it in the backyard, is a pizza oven,
Mm,
like a brick
yeah.
and mortar, just brick mortar, and then like you can make these molds that like go underneath it and hold the brick, or you can try to do it some specific way, whatever.
Hmm.
But just so that I can have a pizza oven in my backyard, and people are
Yeah.
like, "Oh, come on over for a barbecue." I'll be like, "Come on over for some pizza." you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it'd
No,
be
that
super
sounds
rad.
sick. Yeah, that'd be legit too. You know,
I've
everybody
watched a
comes
lot of
over.
videos
Oh,
on
what
it.
do you want? Yeah, what do you want for dinner? It's like, oh, we'll make it easy on ourselves. We'll order pizza. It's like, no, 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 no. You get in the kitchen. We're making some pizza.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds sick, dude. I mean, yeah, that'd be super awesome. I mean, it's
It's
like something like that, or like um those underground pits that they use
hmm
for cooking.
hmm
You know, something like that would be super dope too. So I mean,
Oh, dude, yeah,
there's a ton of cooking applications that
yeah,
sounds legit. You know, I mean, how cool would it be if you just like had a bunch of friends over and just did like a spit roast in your backyard, and everybody's just hanging out on the back porch talking, and you're
yeah,
just like rotating this pig, you know, getting ready to make some pulled pork sandwiches or something or whatever, you know.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that sounds like a good time. You
See,
know, I
I'm.
I recently had somebody at work that went to Hawaii,
hmm
and they just got back on Monday, and
Uh-huh.
they were describing this whole thing, and they're like, "Oh yeah, they traditionally cooked a pig. It was in the ground. It wasn't on a spit, but you know, they were like it was just kind of creepy to look at because they don't
Yep.
like take off the head or anything, you
Yeah,
know."
yeah, yeah.
But he said that it was some of the best meat that he's ever had in his life, and all
I'm.
all made traditionally by
Yeah.
natives. So yeah, it
I
was
watch
it
a
was
lot
super
of
cool.
that kind of stuff on YouTube. I love
Yeah,
it. I love like
yeah,
traditional ways of cooking, different ways of cooking. And honestly, if I could just have like a huge backyard patio with like 10 different weird, random cultural like cooking methods,
mm-hmm.
like you said, a pizza oven, a wok stand, a
Yeah,
a big pit, a big spit roast kind of thing, like
yeah,
just all sorts of just random things
mm-hmm.
and ways of cooking. And
Yeah,
I love cooking. I like being outside, and
yeah,
it'd be a cool thing to just hang out with the homies or whatever. And
yeah,
I really want to build stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, I think that like brewing your own alcohol would be kind of cool too.
Ooh,
You know,
yeah.
people say that. I know that one guy, he makes his own moonshine, and he's like, it's a pretty simple process. Same with mead. You know, I heard
hmm
that mead's pretty easy to make. Um, Anything that doesn't take like a super long fermentation
Yeah.
process, you know. Um, but I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that
I worked
sounds
with a
pretty
guy
cool.
who made cherry liquor, or cherry wine, he called it. And
Mm-hmm.
it was pretty potent. Uh,
Yeah.
but it was pretty
Yeah.
good. And he just
Yeah.
did it like in his garage. He had all these barrels and things. And
Yeah.
well, I think he actually used like 5-gallon buckets, like tons of them.
Really.
But it was pretty cool. And like I said, it tastes pretty good.
Yeah, I worked on a guy's house where he had it was a fermenting station for like his hops and everything, but it
hmm
was it was something that you bought from the store specifically for
Mm,
that stuff, just in
okay.
a really small form factor for, personal use. And
hmm
he's like, "Oh yeah, I got a batch going and blah blah blah. I did this to it." The homeowner was friends with the guy that owned my plumbing company, and we were doing a job for him. So they were talking about, this and that, and how he brewed it, and the recipe he used, and the methods he used, and times, and all this stuff, because it all affects the end product, you know.
Yeah. hmm
So yeah, pretty cool. That'd be kind of cool to get
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, um I'm looking at our list, and I can't remember. I'm pretty sure this was yours or mine, but I mean it has to be, right? Because it's our list.
I mean, somebody could have hijacked our list and put some stuff on there. I don't know.
But I mean, I love steampunk.
Okay.
Do you? I mean, you
Yeah.
like steampunk too?
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
that that I mean, it's not even like an era, but it's like a genre of style, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
a gears and clockwork and cogs
Mm-hmm.
and metal and giant oversized goggles and welding and
Yeah.
sparks and electricity and just that type of, it's described as steampunk, but
Yeah.
making sculptures out of
Okay.
different like gears and stuff and clockwork. And mm, uh, for me specifically, I think that making some sort of bear or wolf, animal, and you can do it one of two ways, right? You can either get the clockwork and find all the pieces that kind of match the shape and then tack them all together, weld them all together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And kind of try and make the shape out of that. Or you can get a mold, like a metal bear in the stance that you want, and then, tack a bunch of clockwork to it, to kind of
Uh,
give it the outer appearance of being made of it. That part
I
is a lot more easy,
I
you know?
honestly feel like that one even sounds more steampunk in a way, having it kind of like on the outer shell of a bear, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Uh,
what would be really cool is to find some sort of like figurine or whatever that you could carve out like a section of the chest like it's missing and
mm-hmm.
then put like a clockwork heart in there
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
something.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, there's so many different things that you can do. I mean, just steampunk in general. I love the style. It's
Oh yeah.
super sweet. I wish it was more prevalent in
Right.
video games and movies and stuff. I mean, there's some that are pretty good. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows BioShock is like one of the most famous of that style.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but
I
yeah, I
agree. I
mean,
agree. I'm a
it's
big
pretty
fan.
sweet. I think that another cool thing that would be awesome to make with my own hands, and I'm sure this was on your list too because I see it written down twice, is a shelter in the woods.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Dude.
I'm talking handsaw, cutting down
Yep.
logs, cutting out notches, Lincoln log style, all the way up to the top.
Yep.
You know, brush on the side
Dude,
to make your
I've
roof smothered in mud.
I've watched so many hours and hours and hours of this type of stuff on
Yeah.
YouTube, and there's so many different ways you can do it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to make like a stone and wood comboed like almost like house. Uh,
Yeah.
my wife and I were talking about doing something like that. Like if we could get property someday and have like
Mm-hmm.
almost like a cabin up in on the property, but like away from the house, and have like a little fire pit in the house where we cook. You know, like almost
Mm-hmm.
like medieval style everything. You know,
Yeah. But it's
and
not your main house. It's like a little, hey, we're gonna go stay in this part of
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
property kind of
yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like just to hang out and
Yeah.
experience something different. And I huge fan. I want to do
Mm-hmm.
that really bad.
Yeah. No, I've seen some deals, I've seen some cool methods and yeah, I mean just surviving off of what you can find, you
Hmm.
know? I'd probably have to bring someone with me so I don't die, but it'd be
City boy over here.
yeah, I know. It's like I can't cut anymore. Can you help me, please? It's like, how did Anthony die? Yeah, I tried to build a log cabin. He just got airlifted into the middle of the Amazon. Just like, screw it, I'm gonna try. And we never heard from him again. Oh
Oh
man,
man.
yeah, yeah, it's fun stuff. I mean, a lot of like natural survival stuff like that would be like super fun to do.
Oh yeah.
You just gotta be taught the right way.
I've watched
But
some videos of people like making other random things while they're out. like whether it
Mm-hmm.
be little shelters or whatever, but I guess they kind of call it like bushcrafting. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll see people like whittling like spoons and stuff while they're out camping
Yeah.
and making benches and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
just all sorts of crazy stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I want to do that. I want to make some
Yeah.
cool stuff.
Whittling would be pretty cool. That'd be
Yeah,
pretty cool. I mean, I can't imagine what a wooden fork would look like, because I mean, those prongs are pretty thin.
yeah.
Probably break pretty easily, but I'm sure it's like there's a special technique or a special wood you're supposed to use or whatever.
You just make
But
chopsticks and it's easier.
yeah, I know, right? Just two of them. Stab meat, bite meat. Oh man, yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, weapons, a bow and arrow from scratch, that'd be pretty dope,
Oh yeah.
Making your own arrows, finding feathers, making flights.
Yep.
I mean, all that stuff is super cool,
One of the ones you
you know.
mentioned early on in the episode, like your great sword idea or blacksmithing. I
Mhm.
also really want to do that. I don't care any kind of knives, whether it's a great sword or a dagger or whatever. But I think
Mhm.
just to point out a different aspect of that, I love chef knives. I have
Mhm.
a little collection of them, but I want to like make my own. I want to learn how
Mhm.
to make my own chef knives and do different patterns of steel and stuff. And honestly, if I could give so like one of my goals someday is to have like a shop, okay?
Mhm.
Like a big car shop where I can have a little lift and I can work on cars and build things and whatnot. But then in the different corners of the shop, I want to do like different other things, like have like a little blacksmithing corner and slowly
Mhm.
build it, like get like a little forge going and everything, an
Yeah.
anvil, right? And then like in the other corner, maybe do like I don't know, something random like pottery or whatever. Like, I,
Or like your
I
wood shop, like all your
oh yeah,
wood,
my wood shop stuff. Yeah,
lathe and bandsaw and all that crap. Like, yeah.
exactly. And
Dude, that would be pretty sick. That'd be pretty sick cuz then you
let's
you just,
go out there and
you have your big old pole building, right?
mhm.
And you could just do a little bit of everything, no wasted space.
That's
Like,
just what I want to do. I want to go. I have a space where I can go out and do all the things I dream of
mhm.
and just hang out and invite friends over and experience it together. Um,
Yeah.
building lots of things in different ways.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched a lot of welding videos,
Uh-huh.
and dude, welding's so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just so interesting to forge metal objects together in a permanent way, you know?
Oh yeah.
And so, I mean, there's a bunch of different little knickknacks that they've made, but manufacturing like car parts,
Yeah.
like when I'm sure you remember it. It was on High Low on Donut
Mm-hmm.
when they made the guards for the Toyota Tacomas, and one
Okay.
of
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
was they bought it, and it
Yeah.
was like 2,000 or whatever it was, $2,500, and then the other guys they went the cheapest way and they just got metal poles and they taped it all out and figured out what the lengths were and they tack welded the whole thing themselves.
Uh-huh.
And it's like that's so cool that you can literally forge things by hand,
Yeah.
with the right measurements and everything, and it doesn't have to be like a machine doing it in a factory,
Yeah.
you know. And
That's
so it
definitely an
just
art. Fabrication is
oh,
like it's a hard thing to learn maybe, but like the possibilities are endless. You could make all
mhm,
sorts of cool stuff.
yeah, yeah. Anybody can do it, but not everybody's good at it. you
Yeah. Yeah.
know. Oh man, yeah. So I
Uh,
mean, one of the things that's kind of an ongoing project is just my game room. You know, building. It's not so much building; it's more like decorating. But there are a lot of cool ideas that I've seen. Um, one of the more, I don't know, famous, popular, trending, whatever things that I've seen was a guy had his TV mounted on the wall,
mm-hmm.
and it had two Joy Cons, so it looked like a Switch on the wall,
Right.
and the Joy Cons detach on a conveyor belt. Like it opens up,
Yeah.
and then he has different console controllers
Yeah,
in
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure you've seen it. A lot of people have seen it.
I have not
And
seen it.
you haven't
You
seen it?
mentioned it in our Office Space episode. Check that
Yeah.
out. Shout
Yeah,
out.
that's true. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And dude, but I mean, like,
yeah, no, that sounds
you'd have to
cool.
get like an engineer to help you like make that, but something that would be super cool. And then having a electronic roll down projector screen would be super cool, you know, getting that all. But a lot of it comes with like, I got to get an electrician to give me some more outlets in certain spots. Some of the stuff that I don't want it to be plugged into an outlet. I just want it hardlined, you know. But it's creating a
Yeah, yeah.
space, you know.
Well,
And so
and like speaking of the Office stuff, right? Like we obviously we did an episode on it. We have a lot of cool ideas, but a lot of those ideas are like creating something, making some you know, they're like little projects in themselves to then create this overall picture of like, you know, your ideal office area.
you know, like kind of like the forging thing too. Like another thing that I kind of thought of was you know, like armor.
Ooh,
You know, like
that's
making
cool.
a freaking, honestly, like one of my favorite designs that I've ever seen, and it's super simple too. I mean, at least from like a ornate point of view, like it doesn't have a bunch of, you know, gilded crap on it. It's just very straightforward
Mm-hmm.
and simple. Is a Spartan helmet.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
that super angular downward split T vision on the front. I mean, that thing. The
Yeah.
thing looks sick. It'd be super
Yeah.
cool to make something out of like brass, you
Ooh.
know,
Ooh.
nice and shiny, goldish yellow. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be super cool.
I actually like the aged brass idea where it starts like oxidizing and stuff. But either way, it'd be
Yeah.
cool. I love Spartan helmets, honestly. Like I think it'd be really cool just to have like, you know, on like nightstands almost or whatever, like they're so cool.
Yeah. Make a little lamp out of it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That'd be rad.
That'd be cool. So, well, I think that'll be it. I think that you know, that's a pretty good gist of at
Random
least things
stuff
that
we want
we're
to make.
interested. Yeah,
Yeah.
random stuff we want to make. I mean, there's tons of creative ideas out there. I mean, there's an endless supply of ideas
Yep.
for things that you can want to make, and you know, you just get a certain gratification that comes
Yeah.
with creating something with your own hands. Don't get me wrong. There are times where it's like, you know what, the store-bought cake tastes probably better than the one that I made at home, you know. But that's not, you know, it's not always the case.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you know, it is nice, you know, places like Etsy, just buying other people's art that they've spent time on learning how to master a craft. You know,
Yep.
it's cool stuff. Just being supportive, supporting your friends, oohing and on over their hard work. I mean, it's fun. It's cool.
Yeah,
It's
oh
a
yeah.
good way to you know, bring people together when you show them, you know, hey, you know, I craft bow and arrows, and this is my bow and arrow crafting, tensioning, you know, wiring, you know, whatever station.
Yeah, yeah,
And I've spent a lot of time and research into creating this. It's like, oh, dude, that's so cool. Like,
yeah.
you know, or
Well,
you know, whatever, you know.
crafting like is an easy way to bring like passion and gratification to life, right? And like you said, when you make something and you get that passion and gratification, or when someone around you is crafting, like you said, whether that be a friend, family, or you know, otherwise, you know, supporting them and showing them that like that all their hard work and dedication was worth it, and it's pretty cool, you know. And
Yeah.
I mean, I call it being extra sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
I always try to like, oh, you can make pasta, like, oh,
Yeah.
you can make Alfredo sauce, like you don't have to just buy the what.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go try. Every time, you know, I'm gonna go try and do that. I'm gonna try to do that thing that's
Yeah.
like, wait, that takes literally hours versus like 15 minutes.
Oh yeah.
I'm still doing it, you know. And it's
Yeah.
not because it's easier, it's because Sometimes taking that hard
Mhm.
road is fun and enjoyable, and you get some sort of gratification out of it.
Well, I'll tell you, I on that note, like literally on that note,
Hmm.
um, crafting, food is a very big part of that.
Hmm.
People, cooking, whatever that might be its own genre or whatever, but crafting, I mean, you're still making, you're creating, you're taking all of these parts, putting them together and getting an end result, and
Hmm.
so on that, top ramen. And I'm talking about like gourmet ramen. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm talking about, I've there's a place that I go to. It's called Lucky Cat, right? And it's $12 a bowl, and these are some big old bowls. And
Big
when
old
you
bowls.
big old bowls, I mean they're like that, like just you know what I mean. But so I mean they fill you up. It's good, but the stock, like the soup itself, is so rich and so perfect,
Oh yeah.
And they have bamboo shoots, and they got ramen eggs in it, and they got not cabbage, but the is it celery? I believe it's celery.
Nori. Oh, what?
No, it's oh, what is it? Is it It's not celery. It's something that's similar to celery.
Bamboo shoots? I don't know.
No, they got bamboo shoots. They got mushrooms. The mushrooms, dude, I don't know how they do it, but
Dude, they're always
you
the
bite
best.
into them, and they just like melt. Like they're so
Yeah.
good. Every time I find one, I'm like digging around because I'm the kind of person that like I'll find all the stuff that I like and I'll put it off to the side, and then I'll eat everything else, and then I'll save the best for last. And so it just it's weird, but and then the way that they cook their beef, because beef show you, right? And so anyway, long story short, we were back at crafting. Like I bought a book where this lady studied how the Japanese make their ramen,
Hmm.
how to craft all the different types of ingredients that go in there, and a lot of it is pre-making stuff for the final
Yep.
product.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
there'll be like 10 ingredients that all create one ingredient, and then when you look at the recipe that she has at the end of the book, it'll say, this is going to take these 5 ingredients. But then when you look at all the 5 ingredients, they're actually created from 10 other ingredients that were already
Each.
prepared ahead of time.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I don't even care. I'm just going to look through the final list of how to make this, write down everything I don't have. After 30 different items on my list, I was just like, I am not ready for this. Like, this is just too much. And because she's like, on there, it said to have certain things prepared like a week in advance. Like, it takes that long for them
Yeah.
for all the juices to come out and the flavor to be rich. And making your own bone broth,
Uh-huh.
like
Uh-huh.
boiling. And they showed like chicken feet. Like you're
Uh-huh.
supposed to just go buy a bucket of chicken feet and just boil it and then rip all the skin off and do all this stuff to it. It's like, I just wanted to make a tasty bowl of ramen, man.
Yeah. So that
It's just,
$12 doesn't feel that bad all of a sudden.
yeah, I know, right? It's like, if this is what $12 gets and it tastes this good, holy crap. Yeah. No, I mean, sometimes it's just best to enjoy the craft from someone else.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not so much the doing it yourself, but just enjoying watching somebody else do it, enjoying somebody else's hard labor and appreciating it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I
So
mean, you can try to do all sorts of different hobbies and try to create your all these different things, but the truth is about all these crafts is like they take time to master, right? And
oh
so
yeah.
enjoy and master the ones that you really are passionate about, and then enjoy the ones that someone else took the time to go and
Yeah.
craft, get good at and perfect,
Yeah,
right?
perfect. Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
So
it's cool
yeah,
stuff.
definitely. Well, I think that about wraps it up. I
Yeah,
think that's
it was a good time.
that's no, it was fun. It was good. This was a good subject. I think we got a lot of good ideas out there. Maybe we gave some of you guys some ideas. if you have any ideas and this is on a platform that allows you to leave comments, feel free to give us some crazy ideas, and maybe we'll make a video and about taking up one of those ideas if it's not too
Ooh,
crazy or dangerous, for sure. But
I like that.
yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's commit to some
More.
crazy stuff. No.
I know, dude. Just more money. You know? That's the manufacturing stuff ain't cheap. I'm pretty sure a blacksmith forge ain't cheap. You know, or a tack
Yeah.
welder. You know, at least a good one. But anyway, all right, man. Well, it was good talking to you. Thanks for
Absolutely.
listening. We appreciate all you. And I'm Anthony.
And I'm Aaron.
And
We'll
we're
see you
out.
guys in the next episode.